In the desolate heart of Nevada, far from the lights of Las Vegas, lies one of the most heavily guarded stretches of desert in the United States. A region shrouded in silence, secrecy, and speculation. The locals know it by name, but few dare to speak about it openly. Area 51. For decades, this remote military installation has fueled countless theories: UFOs, alien technology, secret aircraft, and even time travel. But beneath the surface of these sensational ideas lies another, far more grounded mystery, one that few have ever heard about. A network of tunnels, vast, forgotten, and hidden deep below the sand. Officially, Area 51 is part of Edwards Air Force Base, designated as the Nevada Test and Training Range. It's a proving ground for classified projects, a place where American aerospace technology took leaps ahead of the rest of the world. But declassified documents, obscure eyewitness accounts, and satellite imagery suggest something much larger: an underground infrastructure that extends miles beyond what's publicly known. The question is, why? For years, stories of underground activity around Groom Lake have circulated quietly among former workers, truck drivers, and local residents. Some dismissed them as the stuff of desert folklore, mirages of paranoia in a landscape of secrecy. Yet others describe strange vibrations under the ground, the faint rumble of machinery where there should be none, and occasional bursts of steam rising from the barren earth. Could these be signs of a hidden world below Area 51? Let's start from the beginning, before Area 51 became a household name. Origins of a secret base. In the early 1950s, as the Cold War escalated, the United States needed a remote, secure location to test its most advanced aircraft. The Lockheed U-2 spy plane project required a site far from prying eyes, somewhere so isolated that even pilots would have trouble finding it. The chosen spot, a dried-up lake bed called Groom Lake, nestled within the Nevada desert, about 83 miles northwest of Las Vegas. The CIA established the base in 1955 under the name Watertown, a reference to CIA Director Allen Dulles' hometown in New York. Its purpose was simple: to test high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft and other experimental technologies. But the remoteness of Groom Lake also made it ideal for something else: construction on a massive scale, hidden entirely from the public. In 1957, contractors and military engineers began expanding facilities underground, driven by the need for secure hangars and command centers shielded from Soviet satellite surveillance. According to declassified Air Force blueprints, early construction included reinforced bunkers, subterranean storage vaults, and a network of reinforced tunnels connecting key areas. At the time, it made sense. The Cold War demanded secrecy, and secrecy often meant going underground. But as the decades passed, whispers began to suggest that the tunnels weren't just for defense or storage. Some said they extended for miles, linking Area 51 to other classified facilities like Papoose Lake, S4, and even Nellis Air Force Range. Others claimed these tunnels were built for something entirely different: experiments that needed to be kept far from sunlight and oversight. The evidence beneath the sand. Let's separate myth from material evidence. In 2013, the CIA officially acknowledged Area 51's existence for the first time, releasing documents through a Freedom of Information Act request. But notably, these documents omitted all reference to underground structures or tunnel systems. That omission only deepened curiosity. Researchers began examining satellite imagery, thermal signatures, and ground-penetrating radar anomalies. Some found patterns that didn't align with natural formations: linear depressions, ventilation shafts, and graded paths leading directly into Groom Mountain. Geologists who analyzed the terrain found signs of man-made excavation, cuts through basalt and tuff that would have required enormous effort and precision. Yet no official record of such construction exists. In 1997, a geologist named David Darlington published a report after visiting the periphery of the restricted zone. He described feeling low-frequency vibrations like distant turbines or ventilation fans coming from below the ground. Others have reported similar experiences, rhythmic tremors, metallic echoes, and even faint lights emanating from vents scattered across the desert floor. These aren't isolated accounts. In the 1980s and 1990s, commercial satellite photographs occasionally captured unusual heat blooms in the Groom Lake region during the night, temperatures inconsistent with normal desert cooling. Experts theorized they might indicate geothermal activity, or industrial systems running below ground. One declassified Department of Energy document from 1992 mentioned subterranean research laboratories within the Nevada test site, though their exact locations were redacted. Could Area 51's tunnels be part of that same classified infrastructure? Whispers from within. Every secret base breeds its myths, but occasionally whispers come from those who claim to have seen what lies below. One such voice was Bill Uhouse, a retired engineer who stated he worked at a facility near Area 51 in the 1960s. Uhouse described an underground complex connected by rail-like transport systems, silent, magnetically driven vehicles that moved personnel between hangars. He said these tunnels stretched for dozens of miles and were large enough to accommodate aircraft components and massive cargo. Then there's the account of Thomas Costello, an alleged security officer from the late 1970s who claimed to have worked at the Dulce facility in New Mexico, another rumored underground base supposedly linked to Area 51 via subsurface transport. While Costello's story blends myth with conspiracy, his descriptions of vast, multi-level tunnels mirror details found in older Air Force infrastructure blueprints. More recently, contractors who worked on Nevada testing ranges in the 1990s describe seeing large-scale excavation equipment moved in and out of the restricted area, equipment far beyond what would be needed for surface work. A few even spoke of sealed shafts leading straight into Groom Mountain, guarded 24 hours a day by specialized personnel. None of these accounts can be confirmed, but together they paint a consistent picture that something beneath the desert remains active, hidden, and perhaps still expanding. The Forgotten Network. The idea of underground tunnels in military operations isn't science fiction. During the Cold War, both the US and the Soviet Union invested heavily in subterranean facilities, not just for missile silos and bunkers, but for entire operational networks. From NORAD's Cheyenne Mountain Complex in Colorado to Raven Rock in Pennsylvania, underground command centers were built to survive nuclear war. So why wouldn't Area 51, the most secretive military testing site in the country, have a similar system? In 1989, a U.S. Geological Survey map identified an unexplained restricted region beneath Groom Mountain labeled only as TTRS-3. Later revisions quietly removed it. Some researchers believe TTRS stood for Transit Tunnel Research Site. If true, that could mean these tunnels were part of an early military experiment in rapid underground transit, a concept revisited decades later in modern high-speed tunneling technologies. What's particularly strange is that funding for underground military projects didn't disappear with the end of the Cold War. In the 1990s, the Department of Defense allocated hundreds of millions of dollars to subsurface engineering programs, citing long-term strategic development. Many of those projects remain classified.
Could they have been maintaining, expanding, or even repurposing the tunnels under Area 51? The question of what lies below. If the tunnels exist, what purpose do they serve today? Some experts suggest they might house advanced propulsion research, testing of aircraft or energy systems too volatile or sensitive for surface operations. Others believe they store nuclear materials or even biological research facilities requiring isolation. A 2011 leaked email from a defense subcontractor referenced subterranean containment systems within the Groom complex, mentioning isolation protocols for experimental hardware. While the authenticity of that email remains disputed, the terminology aligns with how classified research divisions often describe biosecure or radiation-controlled labs. And then there's the silence. Unlike most Cold War bases that eventually transitioned to partial public acknowledgement or closure, Area 51's activity has only increased in recent years. Satellite imagery shows expanding infrastructure, new road systems, and perhaps most intriguingly, multiple ventilation shafts positioned miles apart, far beyond the visible perimeter. Ventilation for what? The next layer. As we dig deeper, the evidence begins to converge. Accounts of vibrations, declassified maps, thermal anomalies, and unmarked ventilation structures all hint at something extensive beneath Groom Lake. But evidence alone isn't proof. To understand what's really happening, we must examine why the government would maintain a subterranean network decades after the Cold War ended. What operations could possibly justify that level of secrecy today? In the next section, we'll explore the theories that connect these tunnels to modern experimental programs, some confirmed, others denied, and how the forgotten tunnel system beneath Area 51 may still be home to the most advanced projects on Earth.
The Cold War may have ended, but secrecy didn't. If anything, the cloak around places like Area 51 only thickened. While the world celebrated a new era of peace and technology, the United States quietly shifted its black budget focus from nuclear deterrence to something even more elusive: dominance through innovation. And nowhere was that innovation more secret than beneath the sands of Groom Lake. The official story is simple. Area 51 is an aircraft testing site. But that explanation doesn't hold when you look at the continued, relentless expansion of underground infrastructure long after most aircraft testing moved elsewhere. Something down there still demands energy, personnel, and absolute isolation. So what exactly are they doing beneath the surface? The rise of the black projects. Every year, billions of dollars disappear into the Pentagon's so-called black budget, funds reserved for projects too sensitive to appear in public records. In 2024 alone, estimates suggest over $80 billion was spent on classified programs. That's more than the total defense budgets of many nations combined. Historically, these secret projects gave birth to technologies decades ahead of their time. The U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, and the F-117 Nighthawk, all tested in secrecy at Area 51. But what happens to those projects once they're retired? And more importantly, where does the next generation of experimentation occur? Whistleblowers and defense analysts argue that Groom Lake never stopped evolving. Instead, it went deeper, literally. When one layer of secrecy expired, another was built beneath it, a buried ecosystem of laboratories, research bays, and isolated testing chambers where electromagnetic propulsion, advanced materials, and energy systems could be studied beyond satellite view. The tunnels, according to some accounts, became the arteries of this hidden research empire. Technology a decade ahead. Let's consider how far official technology has advanced in the open. The U.S. Air Force now operates drones capable of autonomous flight, aircraft that use stealth profiles so advanced they practically vanish from radar, and propulsion systems approaching the theoretical limits of atmospheric performance. Now imagine what's being tested under the classification of special access programs, research so restricted that even military generals might not know it exists. That's where Area 51's tunnels enter the picture.
Former defense contractor statements, though unverifiable, describe sealed labs operating under unique conditions, magnetic isolation, zero-light environments, and subsurface pressure control. Such settings would be ideal for experimenting with propulsion drives that generate intense electromagnetic fields, or for housing compact nuclear or plasma-based systems too dangerous for surface testing. One physicist speaking anonymously in 2019 described the Nevada desert as the quietest place on Earth for loud experiments. His phrasing wasn't poetic. Deep underground, vibration dampening and geological stability make it possible to test experimental energy reactions without detectable shockwaves or acoustic signatures. If true, that could explain the strange low-frequency tremors reported by locals around Groom Lake since the 1980s.
Beyond aircraft, the human element. Yet, technology might not be the only subject of these experiments. For years, a thread has persisted through declassified documents and second-hand testimony, research into the limits of human endurance, cognition, and even perception. During the 1960s, the CIA's MK Ultra program explored the manipulation of consciousness through drugs, sensory deprivation, and psychological stress. Officially, it ended in the 1970s, but multiple intelligence historians argue that certain lines of research continued, transferred to defense-related branches under new code names. Area 51's isolation and underground structure would make it the perfect environment for classified human performance programs. Inside reinforced tunnels, controlled conditions could simulate zero visibility, low oxygen, or radiation-rich environments, useful for testing human responses to deep space travel or high-G flight. Such research wouldn't necessarily be sinister. It could be vital preparation for aerospace medicine. But secrecy breeds suspicion, and when no information emerges for decades, the imagination fills the void. Some former radar technicians claim they occasionally transported sealed capsules to sub-level loading areas at Groom Lake, cargo they were forbidden to inspect. Others recall corridors marked with biohazard insignia leading into restricted wings. Were these simply safety measures for materials testing, or something more? The biological question. A 2006 Air Force technical report on biocontainment and isolation in aerospace research describes underground containment structures for exotic organic compounds and engineered materials. The report never mentions Area 51 by name, but its listed environmental parameters, extreme temperature stability, and subsurface airflow systems match what geologists have observed near Groom Mountain. Could the forgotten tunnels house ongoing biological or environmental simulations, perhaps related to deep space survival? NASA has used subterranean labs in New Mexico for similar purposes, simulating Martian cave conditions. The military might have parallel interests, studying how long humans or materials can endure isolation under radiation exposure or artificial gravity fields. If so, the experiments continuing beneath Area 51 may not be alien at all, but a long-term investigation into life beyond Earth, conducted in secrecy to avoid public scrutiny or international interference. A web of connectivity. Satellite data shows something else curious. A series of heat signatures extending south from Groom Lake toward the Nevada test site, a region filled with decommissioned nuclear tunnels and deep shafts. Analysts have traced linear anomalies along this path, suggesting the possibility of connecting conduits between facilities. In other words, Area 51 might not be a single base at all, but part of a network. Documents from the Department of Energy's 1990s Subsurface Access Program confirm that high-speed tunnel boring technology was deployed throughout Nevada for rapid underground access. The machines used were nuclear-powered, melting through rock to create smooth, glass-lined tunnels. If those prototypes operated near Groom Lake, they could have easily produced the infrastructure rumored today.
wide, pressurized corridors extending for dozens of miles. That would make Area 51 less of an isolated fortress and more of a central node, a junction in a hidden web connecting Nellis Range, Papoose Lake, and even Los Alamos in New Mexico through high-speed underground transit. It sounds unbelievable, but even civilian technology is catching up. Modern tunneling systems, like the ones proposed by private companies today, show it's possible to build extensive underground routes quickly and quietly. If that's the civilian capability, imagine what decades of classified military engineering could achieve.
Where the experiments continue. Officially, the U.S. government has never confirmed any active subterranean projects at Groom Lake. Yet the pattern of investment, security, and silence suggests otherwise. Satellite images show new infrastructure built not outward, but downward. Between 2010 and 2020, analysts observed repeated excavation around the mountain base, followed by rapid covering and terrain restoration, a method used to conceal underground entrances. Thermal scans show clusters of vents maintaining steady heat through the winter months, a sign of operational air circulation far below the surface. If the tunnels were abandoned, those systems would be cold by now. Instead, they breathe, faintly but continuously. Something is still running under that desert. Energy readings near Groom Lake have also drawn attention. Civilian monitoring stations occasionally record unexplained electromagnetic surges, brief wideband pulses consistent with large-scale power fluctuations. Such spikes could result from experimental propulsion testing or from massive underground machinery cycling on and off. Either way, these are not the signatures of a dormant site. They suggest motion, activity, continuation. The silence of oversight. When journalists or researchers attempt to probe further, they hit a legal wall. Area 51 remains exempt from environmental disclosure laws, federal workplace safety inspections, and even certain court orders. This legal immunity is justified on the grounds of national security, but it also prevents independent verification of what happens below ground. In 1994, a group of former workers filed a lawsuit claiming they were exposed to hazardous materials at Area 51 and suffered severe health effects. The case was dismissed when the government invoked the state secrets privilege, arguing that confirming or denying any details about their work would threaten national security. Even the presiding judge admitted he couldn't determine the facts because the information was too classified. That case remains one of the clearest indicators that something unique and potentially hazardous occurs at the site. Whatever the government is protecting isn't just advanced technology, it's an entire operational ecosystem insulated from external law. Continuity through secrecy. Military historians have a phrase for the quiet persistence of secret programs: continuity through obfuscation. When a project's public purpose ends, its classified component often continues under new names, new budgets, and deeper layers of compartmentalization. It's plausible that the tunnel systems beneath Area 51 were never abandoned, only repurposed. What began as Cold War aircraft testing infrastructure may now serve as the cradle of 21st century aerospace innovation: directed energy systems, artificial intelligence integration, quantum communication, and even experimental craft capable of non-traditional propulsion. Every few years, observers spot unidentified craft moving above Nevada's night sky. Silent, angular, unlike anything in service. While many dismiss them as optical illusions or classified drones, they may be glimpses of technology born in those very tunnels, where the experiments quietly and efficiently have never stopped. The human cost of secrecy. But secrecy has consequences. For decades, thousands of workers have commuted in and out of Groom Lake aboard unmarked Janet flights from Las Vegas. They sign lifelong confidentiality agreements and disappear into the desert each morning, returning each evening with nothing to say. A 2003 interview with a former radar operator described the psychological strain. You spend years knowing more than you can ever tell. The silence becomes its own burden. You start to wonder if the silence is the real experiment. It's a haunting idea,
that the most enduring experiment beneath Area 51 might not involve machines or biology, but human loyalty itself. Testing how long people can serve absolute secrecy without breaking. The next step. To uncover what truly lies in the forgotten tunnels, we have to follow the pattern of technology, funding, and behavior. Because every secret leaves a footprint, even faint. In the next section, we'll trace the money trails, analyze declassified budgets, and explore how modern defense programs point to a living system beneath Area 51, one that may extend far beyond Nevada, linking multiple hidden sites in a single subterranean network. A network where the line between classified science and legend begins to blur.
Every secret leaves a trail. And in the modern world, that trail isn't carved in sand or steel. It's carved in money. If the tunnels beneath Area 51 are real, and if the experiments continue as some evidence suggests, then somewhere, somehow, their funding must exist. You can hide a base, you can bury a tunnel, but you can't build miles of reinforced concrete and electromagnetic shielding without money moving somewhere. And quietly, it does. The Black Budget Maze. In Washington, there's a corner of the defense budget known as the Black Budget, an umbrella term for funds allocated to programs whose details are entirely classified. These budgets are intentionally fragmented, dispersed across different departments to make tracing them nearly impossible. A few numbers, however, have slipped through the cracks. In 1987, a Senate investigation revealed that $35 billion in defense spending couldn't be publicly accounted for. By 2020, the estimate had ballooned to $80 billion annually, as we mentioned earlier, about 10% of the Pentagon's total budget. And that's just the money we know about. Each year, a portion of that budget goes into advanced aerospace systems, materials applications, and subsurface infrastructure support. Individually, these terms sound mundane. Together, they sketch the financial outline of an operation hidden beneath our feet. Declassified audits have shown a repeated trend: mysterious cost overruns at facilities within the Nevada Test and Training Range, often justified under generic project names like site development or thermal efficiency upgrades. Those terms could describe almost anything, including the maintenance of an underground environment. It's an old trick. Bury the secret under bureaucracy, and no one will ever dig it up. But the money doesn't just sit on paper. It moves. Through defense contractors, subcontractors, and shell companies designed to keep their true purpose hidden. Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing Phantom Works, and Raytheon all have confirmed or rumored ties to Groom Lake projects at one time or another. But alongside these giants are smaller, more obscure entities: EG&G, Bechtel Nevada, and URS Corporation, to name a few. These companies have handled classified infrastructure for decades. EG&G, for instance, managed operations at Groom Lake during the height of its secrecy, including logistics for restricted construction. Bechtel oversaw tunnel boring for the Nevada test site during nuclear testing, the same technology that could easily apply to subsurface base expansion. And URS, later absorbed into AECOM, handled classified environmental containment for defense projects as recently as 2014. Every contractor leaves faint clues: job postings referencing remote desert sites, or long-duration rotational work, or subsurface ventilation engineering. Each one points to a continuing need for underground expertise in Nevada. That expertise has to be applied somewhere, and Groom Lake fits the bill perfectly.
Unusual procurement patterns. Financial researchers have spotted another anomaly. Procurement records occasionally reveal large purchases of materials inconsistent with surface operations. High-density concrete, multi-layer composite insulation, advanced ventilation components, radiation-hardened electronic systems. All materials you'd expect in an underground or high-energy environment. And yet, the official purpose of these acquisitions is never explained. One report from 2018 listed a $32 million procurement for geothermal stabilization hardware under a Nevada logistics code. The Air Force denied that it had any geothermal research ongoing in the region. But geothermal systems are also ideal for cooling underground laboratories or powering them with steady thermal energy. The numbers fit, the explanations don't. Funding without accountability. Unlike civilian projects, classified military programs are shielded from standard auditing procedures. No inspector general can publicly verify how these funds are used. No congressional report lists the true purpose of each line item. This secrecy is justified as a matter of national security, but it also creates an environment where entire networks of infrastructure, even an underground system spanning hundreds of miles, could exist completely beyond oversight. When you look at where the U.S. government has spent its hidden money over the past 70 years, you see one consistent pattern. Secrecy breeds longevity. The deeper a project is buried, the longer it survives. The tunnel boring legacy. There's also a historical foundation for these hidden passages, and it's not speculation. Between the 1960s and 1980s, the U.S. government experimented with nuclear subterrane technology, tunnel boring machines powered by nuclear reactors. These machines could melt through rock, creating smooth glass-lined tunnels as they advanced. A declassified Los Alamos report from 1972, titled Subterrane Tunneling Concepts, described these systems as capable of producing tunnels up to 40 feet in diameter at rates exceeding 5 miles per day. If even one prototype was ever used operationally, the potential for creating vast subterranean networks would have been enormous. And the Nevada desert, with its thick layers of volcanic tuff and proximity to nuclear testing infrastructure, was the ideal testing ground. Some sources claim that early tunnel prototypes were indeed tested near Groom Lake. The melted, glassy texture of some sealed shafts in satellite imagery aligns with descriptions of subterrane bore output. If the technology worked, and if it remained classified, it could explain how the underground expansion of Area 51 was accomplished so quickly and why so little evidence of excavation remains on the surface. The desert might look undisturbed, but just below that crust could be a labyrinth carved by nuclear-powered precision.
Evidence of life underground. The most compelling sign that these tunnels remain active isn't visible construction, it's ongoing maintenance. Researchers who monitor satellite images of Groom Lake have noted a pattern of minor surface alterations around consistent coordinates, the same coordinates where thermal imaging detects heat plumes. Small patches of terrain are regraded, covered, and regraded again. If these were random natural formations, such regular intervention wouldn't occur. It's as though something below needs to breathe, and technicians are making sure it does. The pattern repeats every 18 to 24 months, consistent with the maintenance cycles of deep ventilation systems. To anyone familiar with subterranean engineering, this isn't speculation, it's standard procedure. If the air stops flowing, the facility stops functioning. And the air, it seems, still flows beneath Groom Lake. The deep programs. So what could possibly be happening down there today? Publicly, the Pentagon's most secret programs fall under the umbrella of Special Access Programs, or SAPs. But within that category is an even more restricted class, the so-called Unacknowledged Special Access Programs, or USAPs.
These programs are not only classified, but their very existence is denied. They operate through funding channels invisible to standard government oversight, authorized by a small number of officials bound by oath and law to silence. If the tunnels beneath Area 51 are being used for anything today, USAPs would be the perfect fit. Their budgets could sustain entire underground complexes without public disclosure. And their operations, experimental propulsion, exotic energy systems, or advanced defense materials would require precisely the kind of isolation the tunnels provide. One former Pentagon analyst described these programs as cities within shadows. He wasn't exaggerating. With virtually unlimited funding, minimal oversight, and advanced construction capabilities, these networks could theoretically operate indefinitely, growing deeper, more sophisticated, and more secret with each generation. The expanding pattern. Satellite surveillance has revealed a striking detail. In recent years, several previously inactive regions within the Nevada test range have shown renewed signs of activity. New access roads, temporary structures, and energy anomalies. Some of these sites are roughly aligned in a geometric pattern pointing back toward Groom Lake. Analysts speculate that these are nodes, access points to an interconnected tunnel grid. If that's true, the scope of what lies below is beyond comprehension. It wouldn't just be a base, it would be an underground continent. Supporting this idea are leaked Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency proposals from 2018 under the name Subterranean Challenge, in which the agency sought new methods for navigating and mapping complex underground environments. DARPA rarely funds pure curiosity. Its competitions often align with active strategic needs. If they're developing tech to navigate underground systems, it may be because such systems already exist and require better control.
Why Nevada? There's a reason Groom Lake was chosen in the first place, and a reason the government continues to guard it so fiercely. The Nevada desert provides more than isolation. It provides perfect geological conditions for secrecy. The volcanic tuff beneath the surface is strong, stable, and relatively easy to tunnel through compared to granite or sandstone. It's also a natural insulator, perfect for hiding heat, vibration, and electromagnetic interference. Even nuclear tests conducted nearby during the 1950s and 60s left little surface disruption, meaning that new subterranean construction could be easily masked by the existing test history. No one would question seismic anomalies in a region already famous for underground detonations. In short, Nevada is a landscape built for secrets, and the tunnels beneath Area 51 are its most carefully buried. A system that never sleeps. All signs point to continuity. From the funding to the materials, from the maintenance cycles to the persistent heat signatures, the forgotten tunnel system beneath Area 51 isn't forgotten at all. It's alive, humming quietly, unseen beneath the sand. And if the activity we observe is only the byproduct, ventilation, power fluctuations, and procurement, then what's happening at the core must be far more significant. The experiments continue not because of conspiracy, but because they are essential. They represent the cutting edge of defense, technology, and perhaps even humanity's future beyond this planet. And the tunnels, those veins of steel and concrete, remain the perfect incubators for what comes next. What comes next? In the next section, we'll explore the possibilities of what those continuing experiments could actually be. We'll examine evidence from aerospace patents, unacknowledged test flights, and defense leaks pointing toward technologies that seem decades beyond current capability, and how they all trace back,
directly or indirectly, to Groom Lake and its subterranean world. Because while the world watches the skies for UFOs, the real mystery may be buried right beneath our feet.
We've traced the origins, the evidence, and the funding. But one question remains. What exactly are the experiments taking place beneath Groom Lake sands? What demands that level of secrecy, energy, and underground isolation? The answer may lie not in rumor, but in what's hiding in plain sight. Patents, flight reports, and physics experiments quietly filed away by the very agencies and contractors tied to Area 51. When we connect these fragments, a pattern emerges, one that suggests the US government isn't just testing aircraft anymore. It's testing the limits of reality itself. The shadow of breakthrough propulsion. In 2018, a series of unusual patents surfaced under the name Salvatore Cesar Pais, filed by the US Navy. They described theoretical craft that could manipulate space-time, use electromagnetic fields for propulsion, and operate both in air and underwater. One patent, titled Craft Using an Inertial Mass Reduction Device, describes a system capable of creating a quantum vacuum field to generate lift. In simpler terms, it outlined a real-world anti-gravity drive. While the Navy insisted the technology was merely theoretical, documents later showed that testing proposals were funded and reviewed by defense agencies. The patents even referenced high-energy electromagnetic propulsion systems, systems that would require isolation from surface interference and extreme shielding, exactly the kind of environment you'd find in a subterranean lab beneath Area 51. If experiments in inertial manipulation or electromagnetic field propulsion are real, they would produce enormous heat, vibration, and magnetic noise. Testing them underground isn't just practical, it's essential. Some physicists believe these experiments could be part of an ongoing effort to develop hybrid aerospace vehicles capable of field propulsion, a technology that would make traditional jet engines obsolete. Such a breakthrough could explain decades of unidentified craft sightings near Groom Lake. Not aliens, but the next stage of human engineering, hidden in plain sight. The TR-3B phenomenon. For decades, witnesses have reported seeing large triangular craft hovering silently over the Nevada desert. They emit no sound, no visible propulsion, and move with impossible agility. Officially, the government denies any connection to known aircraft. Unofficially, insiders refer to a craft rumored to exist since the 1990s, the TR-3B Astra. While no verified documentation confirms its existence, the description has remained consistent across multiple independent accounts. A massive triangular craft with pulsing lights on each corner and a central circular core. According to persistent rumors, that core generates an intense electromagnetic field, reducing the craft's effective mass, effectively a gravity-defying platform. Now, if we strip away the myth and focus on engineering, the TR-3B could represent a test bed for inertial manipulation, an experimental hybrid craft built within the same technological framework described in those Navy patents. And if such a vehicle exists, it would require an underground hangar with advanced electromagnetic containment, secure from public and satellite detection. Where could that hangar be? Every clue points to the Groom complex and the tunnels beneath it.
From the stars to the desert. Another intriguing connection lies in NASA's and DARPA's overlapping interests. In recent years,
DARPA has funded research into non-chemical propulsion and field effect dynamics for deep space missions. Officially, these projects explore new methods of moving spacecraft without conventional fuel. Unofficially, their descriptions mirror those of classified defense patents and the alleged black projects associated with Groom Lake. What's particularly revealing is the use of dual-purpose research. When a government agency pursues technology for space travel, the same principles often apply to atmospheric or even military applications. If you can propel a craft in a vacuum, you can potentially do so within Earth's atmosphere, silently, without emissions, and with unmatched efficiency. Many believe that the tunnels under Area 51 serve as a crossroad between defense and aerospace, a proving ground where experimental propulsion for both military and space programs converge. It would explain why the site continues to expand even after much of America's aviation testing moved elsewhere. Artificial gravity and energy containment. Some of the most secretive technologies require total isolation, not just from the public, but from natural electromagnetic interference. Underground laboratories provide precisely that, an environment stable enough to run high-field plasma reactors or magnetic containment systems without interference from the Earth's ionosphere. Declassified Department of Energy research into magnetic confinement fusion from the late 1980s mentions subsurface containment structures in Nevada, built to test high-intensity plasma without external radiation leaks. If those projects evolved rather than ended, they could have merged into the black world of Area 51 research. The connection to artificial gravity experiments is more than theoretical. A 1994 Air Force technical report titled Advanced Field Propulsion Concepts discussed using rotating superconductors and plasma rings to create localized gravitational fields. At the time, it was dismissed as fringe physics. Today, superconducting materials and quantum field manipulation are mainstream research fields, and they require exactly the kind of environmental control only deep tunnels can provide. These are the experiments that would never be run in an open facility, not because they're alien, but because they are revolutionary. What about extraterrestrial claims? No discussion of Area 51 could ignore the alien question. Since Bob Lazar's 1989 claims that he worked on reverse engineering extraterrestrial craft at a facility called S4 near Papoose Lake, Area 51 has been synonymous with UFO lore. Lazar described 9 flying discs housed in hangars built into a mountain and said he worked on a propulsion system powered by a mysterious element he called Element 115. For years, his story was dismissed as fantasy. But decades later, scientists officially synthesized moscovium, the 115th element on the periodic table. Highly unstable, but real. While it doesn't behave as Lazar described, the coincidence rekindled interest in his testimony. Could there be some truth hidden within exaggeration? Maybe. Even if Lazar misinterpreted what he saw, it's plausible he witnessed advanced human technology that was decades ahead of its time. A secret propulsion system so unfamiliar, it appeared alien. And where would such technology be stored, studied, and perfected? Beneath the desert, in the tunnels that never see sunlight. Whether extraterrestrial or human, the experiments Lazar described would require total isolation, containment, security, and environmental control. The same conditions the forgotten tunnels purportedly provide.
Powering the impossible. Another key mystery surrounds power consumption. Satellite thermal data shows Area 51 consistently emits more heat than comparable facilities, even at night. Given the desert's cold conditions after sunset, these readings imply massive energy usage below ground. If advanced propulsion or plasma containment is occurring, that energy signature makes sense. Such experiments would demand gigawatts of power, likely supplied by underground reactors or geothermal systems. Officially, no reactors are listed at Groom Lake. Yet documents from the Department of Energy show decommissioned test reactors in Nevada that could have been quietly reactivated or relocated for classified use. The secrecy is absolute, but the physics are consistent. Whatever's happening down there, it's drawing immense energy. Echoes of sound and light. Several amateur researchers have spent years recording low-frequency audio in the desert near Groom Lake's perimeter. Their findings are strange but consistent. Rhythmic pulses, deep mechanical droning, and occasional bursts of subsonic vibration. The sounds are too regular to be natural and too faint to trace. Experts have suggested they could be the byproduct of electromagnetic field generators, particle accelerators, or underground magnetic containment systems, all of which match the type of testing described in the black budget patents. Thermal images show faint rectangular glows at night, aligned in patterns similar to underground tunnels. It's impossible to verify, but the data paints a picture of a living system beneath the desert, a vast machine breathing heat, power, and vibration. Whispers of quantum communication. In recent years, the U.S. military and intelligence community have made major investments in quantum communication, secure data transfer that can't be intercepted or decoded by conventional means. But quantum systems are extremely sensitive to interference. For stable operation, they require electromagnetic isolation, precisely what a deep subterranean facility offers. Reports have surfaced of experimental communication relays being tested in Nevada capable of transmitting data without detectable radio frequencies, instantaneous, silent, and virtually untraceable. Such technology would revolutionize global defense networks, and it would demand total secrecy during development. Could the forgotten tunnels beneath Area 51 also serve as the birthplace of these next-generation communication systems? The timing, location, and classified budgets suggest the answer is yes.
Bridging past and future. It's easy to dismiss the stories of Area 51 as science fiction. But when we line up the documented evidence, real patents, real funding, real technology, the line between myth and reality begins to blur. In the 1950s, Area 51 tested aircraft the world wouldn't see for another 30 years. In the 1980s, it perfected stealth long before it became public knowledge. Today, it's reasonable to assume it's still decades ahead, testing technologies we won't understand until the mid-21st century. If history is any guide, what's being developed beneath Groom Lake today will define the next century of aerospace, defense, and energy. And if the tunnels are real, if they truly stretch across Nevada, connecting hidden labs and research bays, then we may be standing on top of one of the most advanced technological ecosystems in human history, hidden just a few hundred feet below the desert crust. The future they're building. The most sobering realization is this: whatever's being built or tested beneath Area 51 is not necessarily for war. It may be for what comes after war. A propulsion revolution that renders fuel obsolete. A communication network immune to interception. A fusion-based power source that could end energy scarcity forever. If even a fraction of the technology hinted at in classified patents and defense budgets is real, then the forgotten tunnels are not just relics of Cold War paranoia, they're the birthplace of the future. And like all revolutions in science and power, it begins in silence. What lies ahead? In the final section, we'll step back from the technology and examine the bigger question: why the secrecy endures. We'll explore how the culture of silence surrounding Area 51 has shaped public perception, how truth and conspiracy intertwine, and why, even today, those tunnels remain both America's greatest secret and its greatest mirror. Because in the end, Area 51 isn't just a place. It's a symbol of everything humanity fears and hopes about its own future.
Every era has its mystery. For centuries, humanity's greatest questions looked upward, to the stars, to the heavens, to gods and galaxies. But in the 20th century, something changed. Our greatest mystery moved downward, into the earth itself, into a desert where no one was supposed to look, into the tunnels beneath Groom Lake, into Area 51. And yet, despite the documentaries, the whistleblowers, the satellite images, and the online investigations, one fact remains clear. No one outside the system truly knows what happens down there. The silence isn't an accident, it's a strategy, one that has protected the United States' most valuable secrets for nearly 7 decades. A culture of compartmentalization. Every person who's ever worked near or within Area 51 describes one thing above all: compartmentalization. You never see the full picture. You know your task, nothing more. Engineers work beside physicists without knowing each other's objectives. Technicians maintain machines they're not allowed to understand. And those who ask too many questions simply don't return. This culture didn't emerge by chance. It was designed during the Cold War, when secrecy was survival. Every project, every test, every rumor served a purpose: to protect national advantage by isolating information. That principle didn't vanish when the Soviet Union fell. It evolved, spreading across new technologies, new contractors, and new generations of scientists sworn to silence by layers of classification deeper than most people realize. The deeper the secret, the smaller the circle. And the tunnels under Area 51 are where the smallest circle of all operates. The power of secrecy itself. At a certain point, secrecy becomes more than a tool. It becomes a form of control. When the public can't verify what's real, belief becomes the battlefield. The truth hides not behind walls, but behind confusion. By allowing just enough rumor to escape, alien stories, strange lights, whispers of experiments, the system creates a perfect smokescreen. It draws attention away from what's actually happening. It turns skeptics and believers against each other, while the real work continues undisturbed. In a way, the myth of Area 51 protects the reality of Area 51. It's psychological camouflage. Every YouTube video, every late-night radio show, every meme about little green men helps maintain that fog. The deeper question isn't what are they hiding, it's what are they distracting us from?
The human cost of silence. For those who've worked there, the price of secrecy is immense. Former employees, those few who've dared to speak, even anonymously, describe isolation that extends far beyond the desert. They can't tell their families what they do. They can't publish research or claim credit for breakthroughs that might change the world. Their accomplishments vanish into classified archives, their careers buried like the tunnels themselves. A former logistics contractor once said in a rare interview, "You don't work at Groom Lake for recognition. You do it because you're building tomorrow, and you'll never get to see it." That statement captures the paradox of Area 51. It's both an engine of innovation and a vault of sacrifice. Its engineers designed the future but never lived to see it unveiled. Why the tunnels endure?
Many assume that in the modern age of satellites and leaks, true secrets are impossible to keep. Yet Area 51 continues to thrive. Why? Because the tunnels beneath Groom Lake are more than just structures. They're a philosophy of secrecy made physical. Each layer of earth represents a layer of classification. Each locked door, another filter of truth. The deeper you go, the fewer the people who know what you're doing, until, at the bottom, only a handful remain. It's a perfect system of control. No single person has the full story. That's how the experiments can continue indefinitely, without oversight, without exposure, and without interruption. The evolution of the hidden world. Area 51's tunnels may have started as storage or containment facilities, but over time they became something far greater, a subterranean network for research that has outgrown the desert itself. Satellite analyses reveal continuing expansion even in the 2020s. Thermal data shows new heat signatures in regions once considered dormant. Truck convoys continue to deliver unmarked containers under the cover of night, and local pilots still report airspace blackouts with no explanation. Every sign suggests that Groom Lake remains a living organism, expanding, adapting, and evolving beneath the sand. It may now be connected to other sites across Nevada, such as the Tonopah Test Range, where advanced drones are tested, Papoose Lake, allegedly housing propulsion labs, and the Nevada National Security Site, the successor to the old nuclear testing grounds. Together, these could form an underground corridor of experimentation, a classified ecosystem hidden beneath hundreds of miles of desert.
The new generation of secrets. We often think of Area 51 as a relic of the Cold War, but the modern frontier of secrecy has shifted from stealth jets to artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and nanotechnology. And once again, the pattern repeats. Highly classified research conducted in isolated environments far from public oversight. Why? Because breakthroughs in these fields could change everything: economics, warfare, even human biology. And any technology capable of that level of disruption must first be born in silence. It's likely that the tunnels now house not just propulsion systems, but quantum processors, AI-driven simulation environments, and autonomous defense networks. Projects so sensitive that even mentioning them publicly could spark geopolitical tremors. Some analysts believe these systems are being designed to merge, creating self-learning defense mechanisms capable of managing entire military operations autonomously. If true, the tunnels beneath Area 51 might now hold not only the next generation of machines, but the beginning of a new kind of intelligence altogether. The thin line between progress and control. Secrecy and progress have always been intertwined. Every major technological leap in history, from nuclear power to stealth flight, began behind closed doors. But there's a darker side to that truth. When progress happens without transparency, accountability disappears. Who decides what should be built? Who determines what's ethical, what's safe, or what's too dangerous to exist? If experiments continue unchecked in the forgotten tunnels, propulsion, AI, genetic manipulation, or otherwise, who ensures they remain in humanity's best interest? When information becomes power, and power hides underground, where does that leave the rest of us? The desert keeps its secrets. The Mojave has always been a land of silence. Its vastness absorbs sound, light, and time itself. Stand at the perimeter fence at Groom Lake and you'll see nothing but sand, wind, and the occasional glint of sunlight on distant sensors. No movement,
no voices, just an emptiness that feels watched. It's a strange sensation, knowing that beneath your feet there may be entire worlds operating beyond your perception. Labs, corridors, machines humming softly in the dark. Generations of scientists working anonymously to shape the world above them. And somewhere down there, perhaps right now, another experiment begins. Another test that will never make the news. Another step into a future we'll only see decades later.
The true purpose of the tunnels. So what are the tunnels really for? The answer, like all things at Area 51, depends on perspective. To the engineers, they're laboratories of innovation. To the military, they're strategic assets. To the public, they're the heart of conspiracy and myth. But to history, they may represent something more profound. Humanity's unending desire to push beyond its limits, no matter the cost. Because in every age, the line between discovery and danger has been drawn underground. The alchemists of the past worked in secret basements. The nuclear physicists of the 1940s hid their laboratories behind code names. And today, the frontier of physics, energy, and intelligence runs through the forgotten tunnels of Nevada. It's not the aliens that make Area 51 legendary. It's the people. The ones willing to disappear so that the rest of us can live in a world built from their invisible breakthroughs. The secret that never ends. Maybe one day, decades from now, the files will be declassified, the projects revealed, the tunnels open to historians and engineers who will marvel at what was achieved in silence. But even then, the cycle will begin again elsewhere. New tunnels, new labs, new secrets buried deeper than before. Because secrecy doesn't vanish when light hits it. It relocates, it reinvents itself. And somewhere, out beyond the ridges of Groom Lake, the next forgotten system is already under construction, humming softly beneath the desert, building the next chapter of the story. Closing narration. In the end, Area 51's forgotten tunnel system is more than a hidden facility. It's a mirror reflecting who we are, a species forever torn between curiosity and control, between innovation and fear, between the need to know and the instinct to keep the unknown buried. Every rumor, every sighting, every piece of declassified paper is just another flicker in the shadows of that mirror. But if there's one truth we can take from it all, it's this. The experiments continue, because the pursuit of the unknown never stops. Whether it's propulsion, physics, or something beyond comprehension, humanity will always keep digging deeper, into the earth, into the atom, into the very fabric of reality. And somewhere in those depths, beneath miles of sand and silence, the future is already being built. We just haven't been cleared to see it yet.